Friends, you are already know the importance of grasslands worldwide. Grasslands have a significant role in carbon sequestration, storing carbon in their soils and vegetation, which helps mitigate climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Grasslands are essential for agriculture as they provide grazing land for livestock and can be used for hay production, making them valuable for the livestock industry. Yes, grasslands can be restored through measures such as reseeding native grasses, controlling invasive species, implementing sustainable grazing practices, and conserving natural water resources. The main threat to grasslands include habitat fragmentation, conversion to agriculture, overgrazing, invasive species, climate change, and using the land for building various structures. Grasslands play a crucial role in carbon sequestration, soil conservation, water filtration, and providing habitat for a wide array of plant and animal species. It supports a diverse range of animals including herbivores such as bison, wild beasts and gazelles, as well as predators like lions, owls and coyotes. They are characterized by a dominant cover of grasses with varying degrees of shrubs and scattered trees depending on the specific grassland type. The major grasslands of the world include the Eurasian steppe, North American prairie, African savanna, South American pampas, and Australian grasslands. Large tracts of ground covered with grasses and other herbaceous plants are referred to as grasslands, prairies, or savannas. These habitats, which can be found in various parts of the world, are renowned for their distinctive biodiversity and ecological significance. The world's major grasslands serve as crucial habitats for a variety of plant and animal species, help to sequester carbon, support grazing animals, and provide important resources for human livelihood. Let us go into more depth about these amazing landscapes and their significance. The features of major grasslands of the world. Here is the description about major grassland. The Serengeti Plains. The Serengeti Plains, located in Tanzania and Kenya, are one of Africa's most iconic grasslands, spanning over 30,000 square kilometers. They are home to the Great Migration, where millions of wild beasts, zebras, and gazelles traverse the plains in search of food and water. The Serengeti boasts diverse wildlife, including lions, elephants, giraffes, and numerous bird species. In the south, the grasslands are home to many grazing animals, including wild beasts, gazelles, and zebra. The grasslands are home to many predators, including cheetahs, jackals, and vultures. The grasslands are home to granite formation called kopis, which predators use as observation posts. The grasslands are home to comifera trees, which are used in traditional medicine. The importance of the Serengeti grasslands are home to many species of animals and also famous for their animal migration, which are some of the most spectacular sights in the world. There is the short grass plains located around Ngorongoro and in Serengeti National Park. These plains are rarely burned because grazing animals eat most of the grass. The intermediate grass plains. These plains from crescent shape west and north of the short grass plains. The long grass plains are found in the north of the Serengeti and around Seronera. The volcanic grasslands grow on deposits of volcanic ash in northern Tanzania. Pampas cheaply refers to the fertile South American lowlands that cover more than 750,000 square kilometers, primarily in Argentina but also extending into Uruguay and Brazil. The unique location of Pampas has a strong bearing on its climate, soil, and thus the biodiversity. The humid Pampas ecosystem is one of the richest grazing areas in the world. Because of its temperate climate and rich, deep soil, most of the Pampas has been cultivated and turned into croplands. Unfortunately, domestic livestock and farming have severely affected the Pampas. Grasslands are areas dominated by grasses. They occupy about 20% of the land on the earth's surface. Grasslands occur in both in tropical and temperate regions where rainfall is not enough to support the growth of trees. Grasslands are found in areas having well-defined hot and dry, warm and rainy seasons. Economic importance of Pampas grassland central Argentina boasts a successful agricultural business. Wheat crops grown on the Pampas south and west of Buenos Aires. Much of the area is also used for cattle and more recently to cultivate vineyards in the Buenos Aires wine region. Pampas is swampy area in Brazil. It is famous because it is the largest swampy area in world. The Pampas served as background in Argentina's gaucho literature, including such notable works as Jose Hernandez, Il Gucho, Martin Fierro in 1872, and Ricardo. The original vegetation in the area is moderate grassland dominated by Stipa, Pipatochetium, Aristida, Milica, Briza, Bormus, Iragostis, and Proa grasses. Common shrubs included Margicypress, Hemia, Baccharis, and Eupatorium. Wheat and corn are the main agricultural products that are grown in the Pampas. However, there are other major cash crops that bring money into the regional economy, including sorghum, a cereal grain, and soybeans, a species of legume, flax, oily seeds, and alfalfa, a species of legume commonly used in cattle feed. The most important and major occupation followed is sheep rearing. Then there are dairy farming and mining as well. Prairies are ecosystems considered part of the temperate grasslands, savannas, and shrublands biome by ecologists. Based on similar temperate climates, moderate rainfall, and a composition of grasses, herbs, and shrubs, rather than trees as a dominant vegetation type. Prairies are enormous stretches of flat grassland with moderate temperatures, moderate rainfall, and few trees. When people talk about the prairie, they are usually referring to the golden, wheat covered land in the middle of North America. It is a region of flat, gently sloping or hilly land. For the most part, prairies are treeless but near the low lying plains, flanking river valleys, woodlands can be found. Tall trees up to 2 meters high dominate the landscape. A prairie is a type of grassland. Its name comes from the French word for meadow. You may have heard of the steppes in Asia, the pampas in South America, or the vedette in Africa. These are all types of grasslands too. Wheat, rice, and pulses are grown on prairie land. They are often labeled as the granaries of the world because of the amount of wheat produced over there. They are also suitable for the rearing of cattle. In order to describe the climate of prairies, The prairies are in the middle of the continent. As a result, the climate is continental with hot and cold extremes. Summers are humid with temperatures around 20 degrees Celsius, and winters are bitterly cold with temperatures around minus 20 degrees Celsius. On a prairie, the lines of the landscapes are clean. No trees clutter the horizon. Nothing blocks the view extending forever. Ripples run through the grasses so they seem to advance in front of the wind. It is one of the major grasslands of the world. It is found in the continent of North America, where it is distributed between the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. It includes the areas of Great Plains as well as the wet and hilly land areas of the east. This region has the highest proportion of indigenous people in Canada, outside of the territories. The first European to see the prairies were fur traders and explorers from eastern Canada, mainly present day Quebec and Great Britain via Hudson Bay. The prairie soils are called mollisols, Latin for soft, because of their deep, dark layer of topsoil. The vegetation is composed primarily of perennial grasses with many species of flowering plants. The Mississippi and Missouri rivers flow through the prairies. The two different habitats found in a prairie ecosystem are grasslands, which are dominated by grasses and have few trees, and wetlands, which are areas of land saturated with water, such as eagles, hawks, owls, and animals such as bison, antelopes, coyotes, owls, dogs, goats, and sheep can be found in the prairies. Grasslands are lie in the interiors of the continents. In the westerly wind belt, these grasslands are practically treeless due to continentality. In Eurasia, they are called the steppes and stretch eastwards from the shores of the Black Sea to the foothills of the Altai Mountains, 2000 miles long belt. The temperature of the steppe climate is continental with extremes of temperature. The temperatures vary greatly between summer and winter. The summers are hot and the winters are cold. Summers are very warm, over 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. The steppe type of climate in the southern hemisphere is never severe. The average rainfall may be taken as about 45 centimeters, but this varies according to location from 25 centimeter to 75 centimeter. The heaviest rain comes in June and July, late spring and early summer. Most of the winter months have about 2.5 centimeter of precipitation, brought by the occasional depressions of the westerlies and coming in the form of snow. The maritime influence in the southern hemisphere causes more rainfall. On the eastern slopes of the Rockies in Canada and USA, a local wind similar to the found in Switzerland, called the Chinook, comes in southwestern direction to the prairies and has a considerable effect on the local pastures. It actually comes with the depressions in winter or early spring from the Pacific coast, ascending the Rockies and then descending to the prairies. Kakabatic wind. It is hot wind and may raise the temperatures by 5 degrees Celsius within a matter of 20 minutes. It makes the snow-covered pastures and animals can be driven out of doors to graze in the open fields. The agricultural years is thus accelerated. Local farmers welcome the Chinook for frequent Chinooks mean mild winters. The greatest difference from the tropical savanna is that steppes are practically treeless and the grasses are much shorter. Grasses are tall, fresh and nutritious. This is typical of the grass of the wheatlands in the North America, the rich black earth or Chernozem areas of Russia and Ukraine, and the better watered areas of the Asiatic steppes. Here, where the rainfall is light or unreliable, or the soil is poor as in the continental interiors of Asia, the short steppe type of grass prevails. The grasses are not only shorter but also wiry, lean, tough, and fresh, thinly dispersed or scattered. These areas are less suitable for arable farming and are used for some form of ranching as in the high plains of USA. The growth of grasses is not abruptly checked by summer droughts or winter cold. Pole wars and increase in precipitation gives rise to a transitional zone of wooded steppes where some conifers gradually appear. In the cultivated regions such as the wheat farms of the prairies, double rows of trees are planted around the house to shield the occupants from the strong wind. Animals does not have much diversity and horses are common in Asian steppes. There is an economic development of steppes. The cultivation was unknown just before a century and the region was one of the most sparsely populated parts of the world. In recent years, the grasslands have been plugged up for extensive mechanized wheat cultivation and are now the granaries of the world. Besides wheat, maize is increasingly cultivated in the warmer and wetter areas. The tufted grasses have been replaced by the more nutritious lucerne or alfalfa grass for cattle and sheep rearing. These temperate grasslands are now the leading ranching regions of the globe. The type of migratory animal grazing has almost disappeared from the major grasslands. The herders were wandering tribes, for example, Kyrgyz and the Kazakhs. The harsh environment of the nomads with long droughts and unreliable showers made the Kyrgyz a tough and fearless people, and they long resisted subjugation by the Russians. Now, however, under the communist regime, they are being forced to settle down. The steppes have been made into huge collective farms and state farms for ranching or producing cereals. The temperate grasslands are ideal for extensive wheat cultivation. The levelness of the steppes and other temperate grasslands all over the world makes plugging and harvesting a comparatively easy job. In the prairies, the Argentine Pampas, the Ukrainian steppes and the downs of Australia, agriculture is completely mechanized. The natural conditions suit animal farming. With the development of refrigerated ships in the late 19th century, the temperate grasslands became major pastoral regions, exporting large quantities of beef, mutton, wool, and hides. The milk, butter, cheese, and other dairy products are also important in some parts of the North American grasslands. Asiatic steppes, famous for nomadic herding. Canadian prairies, famous for spring wheat cultivation. The Argentine Pampas, famous for beef cattle ranching. The South African Veld, famous for maize growing, and the Australian Downs, famous for sheep grazing. Savanna biome is part of the larger grassland biome, which is dominated by grasses rather than shrubs and trees. Other than Antarctica, grasslands are found on every continent and covers over 20% of Earth's surface. There are two grassland subbiomes, temperate grasslands and tropical grasslands or savannas. Savannas are tropical grasslands and transitional biome. There is a gradual continuous change from tropical rainforest to tropical dry savanna grassland as the number of dry months increase with distance from the humid tropical climate. Tropical savannas cover almost half the surface of Africa large areas of Australia, Central South America, and Southern Asia. From the edges of tropical rainforest, the savanna runs from wooded savanna to grass savanna into semi-desert scrub at the poleward margins. Climate in savanna is the most important factor in the creation of it. Savannas are found in hot, warm climates with distinct seasonal wet and dry periods. Rainfall is concentrated into 6 to 8 months with long period of drought, allowing fires to occur which maintains the grasslands. Climatic savanna natural succession. Annual fires maintain the grasslands and certain trees cannot survive the long dry seasons. The edaphic savanna. Soil conditions keep these savannas small but can be found in any warm climate. Hills and ridges where soil is shallow or in valleys with clay, waterlogged soils. The derived savannas related with human activity, clearing forest for agriculture, creating national park where elephants destroy trees, eat leaves and strip bark of trees. Savannas are characterized by a continuous cover of perennial grasses, often 1 meter to 1.8 meter tall at maturity. They may or may not have an open canopy of drought resistance, fire resistance or browse resistant trees, or they may have an open shrub layer. As distance from the equator increases, there is distinction between tree or wooded savanna, park savanna, shrub savanna and grass savanna, a theoretical ecoline. The main changes from the equator are decreasing height of vegetation, decreasing density of vegetation, changing vegetation type and structure, decreasing number of tree species, increasing vertical depth of root networks. These changes are due to decreasing rainfall totals along with changing lengths of wet and dry seasons. The greater the distance is from the equator. This in turn changes the vegetation type and its structure. There is seasonal variations. The dry season typically begins with a series of violent thunderstorms leading to strong drying winds. These winds help to promote the spread of fires, causing animal migration and plant dormancy against the coming drought. Rivers and lakes dry up and the grasslands become dry and pale. Once the rains arrive in March, the transformation is spectacular with lush vegetation and rapid growth of grasses. Rivers and lakes recharge and trees and shrubs bloom. Animals return to graze and spread seed in their fur or passes. It is the long dry seasons that prevent trees from dominating the landscape, along with seasonal fires and large numbers of grazing animals keeping forests from growing. The vegetation biomass of savanna is approximately 9% of the tropical rainforest. The net primary production reduces with latitude and length of the dry season. The areas of savanna with grazing animals have higher productivity as nutrient transfer is through defecation and decomposition. The grazing increases growth rate of grasses and animal productivity is higher than tropical rainforest. There is a nutrient cycling in savanna. Its stores are more even with less leaching due to less precipitation. However, there are seasonal variations across the biome. The dry season along with natural and deliberate grass fires creates a short growing season. So the biomass store is third less than the rainforest. However, at the start of the dry season, there is a higher transfer from biomass to little store because trees lose their leaves, grasses die back. The litter store is small due to fires and decomposition is slow during the dry season. Transfer from litter to soil is slow and the soil storage is larger than the rainforest because vegetation demands is lower. Uptake is restricted to the wet season and leaching and withering is less overall due to the dry season. Thanks for watching.